Hello again, welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and today we're going to be taking a look at this. It's the Boss RV-6 Reverb pedal. Starting a review of any Boss pedal is pretty easy because it's a Boss pedal, you pretty much know what to expect. It's the same form factor that I think Boss have been using for as long as I can remember, to be honest. All metal construction, really well built, good non-slip rubber bass, good positive foot switch, nice sized non-slip rubber pad on there. This got 4 controls on it, which I'll talk about in a second. Array of inputs, array of outputs. It takes a 9-volt battery, or you can plug in a standard 9-volt power supply. Looking at it, it's pretty much what you expect because it's a Boss pedal. Now this is a reverb pedal, so before we get into the review and the sounds of this as such, let's talk a little bit about what reverb actually is. Reverb is, you can best think of it, it's a bit like an echo effect, but it's more complex than something you get from like a digital delay. Like I've got a digital delay on my pedal board there, I've got the TC flashback, it's brilliant, but it's basically an echo. You put a sound into it and it echoes it again after a certain amount of time, and it repeats, and those repeats will decay after a certain length of time. A reverb pedal, or just a reverb effect, what that's about, it's more about the sound of, like the sound of a room or the sound of a space. So if you go into if you go into your bathroom, you've got tiles on the walls, very hard surfaces. If you clap your hands, you'll hear the sound kind of bouncing around and reverberating, and hence the name reverb. So what you're hearing is not just like one simple echo, it's the sound going away, hitting a surface and coming back to you. But it doesn't just stop, it goes past you, reflects off the back wall, comes back, and the sound is going off all 4 walls, different directions, and depending on what the surface is made of, it'll absorb certain frequencies more than others, it'll reflect other frequencies back more than others. Depending on the size of the room, how long it takes for the sound to go off, hit the wall and come back. You get this different sort of sound in a small reverb sort of sound in a small room because you do to a big room and so on. And like I say, it's a series of echoes. It's like a delay pedal in the respect that it's taking a sound and echoing it back, but the way in which it's modelling that echo is a little more complex. And there's various different ways over the years that people have simulated that reverb effect through electronics, and this little pedal from Boss covers a lot of those and a few other sounds as well. So let's take a quick look at the controls. We've got an effect level, so your guitar sound is always coming through like, if you like, your dry sound, and what you can do is dial in the amount of reverb sound that you get into the mix. Tone does what you'd expect, it's the tone of the reverb sound from low or high. Time is the reverb time, so how long that echo it takes for that echo to actually happen. And then the control on at the end allows you to select the type of reverb that you're going to get. So we've got modulate, spring, plate, hall, room, dynamic, shimmer, and plus delay. So what I'll do is talk about those and demonstrate them all, so you can hear the difference in sound between the different reverb effects and get an idea for how the pedal sounds. Now it's got a number of inputs and a number of outputs. It works in mono or stereo. So in this demo, I'm just running in straight mono as part of my rig. So I'll be going into input A, which is mono, output A, which is mono. But like I say, it's got 2 inputs, 2 outputs, so you can run stereo setup. Or interestingly, if you plug in a mono source to input B, all that comes out is actually the reverb signal. You don't get any of your dry guitar sound, which is a little bit weird because when you're playing, there's a latency because you don't hear your sound. It's the delay until the echo or the reverb actually comes in. Sounds a bit weird, but if you're running this in a more complex sort of signal path where you want a signal that's just got the reverb, it hasn't got the dry, then you can do that as well. Third input on the side here is for an expression pedal, so you can plug that in. You can control the reverb parameters using an expression pedal. Okay, let's get this plugged in and hear how it sounds, and I'll give you a demonstration of some of the different reverb effects that we've got. Okay, got the pedal plugged in. In terms of gear today, I'm using this guitar, which you've probably seen plenty of times before. It's my Thompson custom guitar. It's got the Damasio tone zone at the bridge and a PAF original at the neck. Going into a Hayden HGTA 40 amp, and just running the emulator out straight into the recording desk. So any reverb sounds that you hear are coming from the pedal. It's not picking up any ambient reverb or anything from the room. I'm gonna, when I edit the video down, I'll cut the room mic out of the mix when I'm playing the samples, so you are hearing literally just the sound of the pedal. All my other effects, like delay and chorus and whatnot, are switched off, so anything effecty you're hearing is coming from the pedal itself. Okay, so this is the dry sound on the clean channel of the amp with no reverb pedal. So as you can hear, when I play a chord, it just kind of stops dead. Turn the pedal on, and this is the spring reverb. You can hear it's got that little bit of an echo to it now. So spring reverb is traditionally sort of more of a very analog sort of reverb sound, and it literally comes from springs. If you've got a reverb unit built into your amp, chances are it's going to be a spring unit where the sound literally travels through a bank of springs, and they add the reverb effect. So this is an analog reverb sound, reverb effect modelled digitally, and I think the pedal does quite a good simulation of that. So all the controls here are on like 12 o'clock, the effect level, tone and delay time. What I'm going to do is just take the delay time, turn that down to minimum, hear how that sounds. Yeah, it sounds a little bit squashed. Turn it up all the way, so this is the maximum delay time. So you can hear the difference there when it's on full to when it's on halfway, when it's on minimum. So I'm not quite so keen on the sound when it's on minimum, but as you can hear, there's plenty of scope there for you dialing in a sound that you like. Okay, so that's spring reverb. Let's have a look at the other effects that we've got. Okay, so next up we've got plate reverb setting. Plate reverb is something that was concocted for use in studios, and it's literally two metal plates and the sound reverbing between those. And this is the sound, again, all the controls at 12 o'clock. You hear a different sort of reverb to spring, but it still sounds quite nice, reasonably natural. And if you've got experience of plate reverbs, you'll know it's a reasonably good emulation of that. Play around with the delay time again. Delay time on minimum. A little bit squashed. And up full. Quite nice. That's taking a long time to kind of decay away. Again, plenty of scope there for tuning in a sound that you like. Okay, let's go to the room reverb setting now. So as the name suggests, the room reverb is emulating the sort of sound that you get in a moderate sized space. Personally, it's not one of my favourite effects. Play around with the delay time again, take the delay time down to minimum. Delay time up a bit. So it's a good emulation of a room reverb. Not my particular favourite reverb sound, but I know some people who do use like a room sound and use it very effectively. Next up is a much bigger space. We're going to go to the hall reverb. Now, hall is probably my favourite of the traditional reverb sounds. I like spring, but I think hall I like a little bit more. Generally because I like quite a full sound. You know, if you've seen any of the pedalboard tours I've done in the past, generally in my rig somewhere I've got a delay of one form or another to add some depth to the sound, and the hall is a big reverb sound, so it adds more depth. So this is the hall with everything on 12 o'clock. Twiddle the delay times are down on minimum. Turn it up full. So plenty of scope for dialing in a sound. Let's muck around a little bit. I've been playing just with the delay time to kind of show you the way you can shape the reverb sound. Well, we've got the hall effect kicked in there. Let's play around a little bit with the tone and the effect level settings as well. I can't, you know, I don't want to go through all the combinations of controls on all the effects. I just really want to give you a basic flavour for what the pedal can do. So what I'm going to do with this one is take the effect level, and we'll turn the effect level down a little bit, so it's on about 9 o'clock. So this is the sound without the effect. And now with the effect. 12 o'clock. Three o'clock. You can see with a very big effect like the hall, when you take the effect level up, so put this on to maximum, it almost becomes overpowering. Does give you the sense of a very, very big space though. Lots of scope there. It almost becomes a bit overpowering, but I think, you know, with effects pedals, at one extreme of the control or another, you get sounds that are less usable, or they're usable in a very given situation where you want to get a very specific affected type of sound. Generally, you'd be, you know, for day to day use, you'd be looking for something around about the middle. Let's just quickly fiddle with tone control. So put the effect level back at 12 o'clock, tone control on minimum. Up midway. And up on full. So that's a little bit more subtle. Remember, this is only affecting the tone of the effect signal. It's not changing the tone of the basic dry signal from the guitar going in. So subtle, but it allows you to kind of tune the effect a little bit to get it the way that you like it. Okay, so that's the four traditional sort of reverb sounds looked at. Let's take a look at some of the more effecty type of things. Okay, so the first one of these we're going to take a look at is the dynamic setting. That's a very nice, quite natural sounding reverb sound, and the idea behind dynamic is it sort of responds a little bit to the input signal, so you don't swamp the signal with reverb while you're playing. It kind of comes more while there's space, and the reverb kind of comes in to fill that gap. Very nice sound. Let's take a look at the next one. This is Reverb plus Delay. So it's a basic reverb sound, but it's got a noticeable delay sound on it as well, like an echo. Yeah, you can hear that. It's like having a digital delay pedal in the mix as well, but with the reverb. You can hear that echo, and obviously this is where the delay time pedal control is really useful. So turn the delay time down to minimum. You can barely hear that delay. Turn it up full. Much longer delay. So again, you can just dial in the sort of sound that you're after. But it's very very useful. And if you don't have a delay pedal in your board and you only need it for one or two uses, then having that delay on the reverb pedal can be very useful. Another one we've got is the modulate. So this is again taking the reverb signal and adding an effect on top of it. In this case, something sort of like quite chorusy. Very nice. So you can see this having uses for more sort of soundscapey type of playing, as well as just as a reverb unit. Now, really stepping up that it's like effecty sort of sound bit is the last setting we're going to take a look at, which is the Shimmer. Again, more pronounced. So this is a very effecty sort of sound. Not something you're probably going to use as part of your regular sound, but there'll be certain situations where having this sort of thing is very useful. Again, I could see this being used for like soundscape or like ambient type of playing quite a bit. Not necessarily to everybody's taste, but like I say, in certain situations very useful, or just something to mess around with and see what it does for your own creative processes, because it's sometimes just having a particular sound can set you off on a particular path with writing or improvising or whatever that you mightn't do with your regular sound. So having little features like this, I think, are quite useful. So that's the Boss RV-6 Reverb pedal. As you can hear, all the traditional sounds you'd expect: room, hall, plate, spring, and so on, coupled with some more sort of like effecty type sounds like the Shimmer and so on, which I think take it away from just being a straightforward reverb pedal and being something more like effecty. And I think if you're into some more sort of like ambient or soundscape type of music, I can see those extra effects being particularly useful. And I know one or two guitarists, Phil, Nick, I'm looking at you, I could see you putting this into your effect rig and being very creative with it and coming up with some really good stuff. If you're not into that sort of thing, there's the Boss RV-5, which is basically just the more traditional reverb sounds in there, so a slightly lower price point. But to be honest, for the price difference, I think it's worth paying a little bit extra, getting the RV-6, and having those extra sounds to experiment with and see what they do for you creatively. Even if you don't use them as a matter of course, they might sort of inspire you in some way or another. Now, it's a good time to be shopping for reverb pedals. There's lots of good ones on the market. I'm a big fan of TC pedals. I've got one or two, and certainly the TC Hall of Fame was one that I considered. There's a really nice reverb pedal from MXR in the stores at the minute, one or two others, but to be honest, with the price point, features and so on, and obviously the reputation of Boss as well, they are pretty bulletproof pedals. The RV-6 was my pedal of choice, and I've been using it for a while now, really enjoying it, and complements the other pedals in my rig quite nicely. And of course, one of the benefits of having a reverb pedal like this is it's part of your sound and it goes with you wherever your pedal board goes. If you plug into a different amp, you're not worrying about whether that amp you're going into has got reverb or it's got a reverb sound that you like. You're using the reverb that's on your pedal board, and it gives you a bit more flexibility as well. If you're shopping, if you want to get yourself a new amp, you're not constrained on only being able to choose ones that have reverb built into them, because the reverb is on your pedal board. So yeah, Boss RV-6, really nice pedal, well worth checking out if you're in the market for getting some reverb into your signal chain. Okay, that's all for now. As always, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or suggestions for future videos, then if you go here, there's a form you can fill in and submit your question, which I'll try and get around to answering in a future video. If you like this, then please click like, subscribe, or leave a comment down there with all the various options that YouTube gives you. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now.